Hi everyone! Welcome to another episode of my kitchen where we're going to be making pasta with vegetarian sauce.
I chose this recipe because it's pretty cheap and I love making pasta from home.
Here's a quick view of the ingredients we'll be needing. In the description box, I'll put all the ingredients that we'll be needing for the whole recipe. So here we'll need some oil, some spices, tomatoes, mushrooms, lentils, pasta, and then our vegetables that we'll be including. You'll also need some pots and mixing bowls, a strainer, cutting board, tongs, mixing utensils, and then as well as measuring utensils, peelers, and a knife. So right now we're going to start off with the sauce, and right now I'm just going to be cutting the onion. So I'm just peeling the outer layer. When cutting the onion, I like to keep the root on. So I heard that it's supposed to help keep your eyes from watering. So hopefully that'll be a little better than yesterday. And then once I've cut all the way through there, I'm also cutting it this way. I like my onions to be quite small, but you can have them as big as you want. Awesome, now that they're chopped like this, now we're gonna start making the sauce. You'll also need some diced tomatoes and tomato paste. I just rinsed the top off just to get rid of any dust around the corners. And then I also forgot to mention that you'll need a can opener. And so now we're just gonna open this up. So once the pan is hot, you're gonna add some oil. My heat is at 5. Then you're gonna take some of the onions. I don't really like onions that much, so I'll probably only use half and then use the other half for the actual food. Just making sure you're mixing it. Okay, so now that the onions have softened and they look a little brown, we're gonna start adding some of the ingredients. So right now we're gonna put in the whole can of the tomatoes. Give that a little mix. Then we need 3 tablespoons of the tomato paste. Now we need 2 teaspoons sugar. 1 teaspoon basil, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I like to add a little bit of rosemary. It says to add a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, but I like a lot of garlic powder. So just want to make it to our preferences. Then I'm going to give that a good mix. And then I'm going to put a bit of black pepper. Awesome, now we're gonna turn the heat down to a simmer, so that'll be around a 1. We're gonna cover it and leave it for a little while, only coming to stir it. So while that sauce is on the oven, I'm just gonna be taking all the vegetables and cutting them and peeling them, getting them ready to make the pasta. And then we're also gonna peel the carrots.
As I mentioned in episode 1, you can keep these peels for our vegetable stock.
And now we're gonna finely chop the carrots. And then now I'm gonna do the same with the zucchini and the celery. And we'll do the same thing with the celery. So I put the carrots and onions on the same. I'll cook the onions first just to get that smell in the air, and then I'll cook the carrots after, just because they do take a little bit longer to cook. But since they are so small, it shouldn't be that big of a difference. I also put the zucchini and the celery in the same bowl just because I don't think that they should take too long to cook. Okay, so I've already opened the can of lentils, and now it's just time to drain and rinse them.
Legumes are a part of the legume family, which is like beans and peas, and they're high in protein and fiber.
And now we're going to do the same thing with the mushrooms. Okay, so back to the sauce. As you can see, it's gotten a lot less chunky, but it's still a little too chunky for my liking, so I'm probably gonna raise the heat a little bit and keep it on the oven as I keep cooking all the other vegetables that we just cut. Okay, once the pan is hot, you're gonna add some more oil. And now I'm gonna add the onions. My heat at this time is at a 6. Alright, so now that the onions have softened and are a little brown, just gonna add some of the carrots. It says half a cup of carrots, but I think that's a little more than half. I love this sound. I'm gonna add the rest of the vegetables now, quite a bit. And I'm just gonna keep stirring it and waiting for it to cook until it becomes a little more soft. In the meantime, don't forget to keep stirring the other sauce as well. We don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. So I'm somehow supposed to fit all of those vegetables, the lentils and the mushrooms, into that saucepan right there. So that's not gonna happen. So I'm quickly going to transfer it into a bigger pot. Right, so I'm just gonna put all of this in here. And then I'm just gonna wash this pot and use it to cook our pasta as well. Since these are kind of soft now, I'm gonna add them into this. And then I'm also going to add the lentils and mushrooms. Now that everything's in, I'm just gonna wait for it to boil a little bit. And then once it hits boil, I'm gonna put it back down on low, cover it, and we're gonna wait for around 30 to 40 minutes until all the vegetables are tender. I'm gonna add some more of the seasonings. So again, some oregano, Italian seasoning, basil, and of course some more garlic powder. It looks a little dry, so I'm gonna add a bit of water just to make sure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. Okay, I'm just gonna mix that all through, making sure that all the spices get mixed in. And then you can also spice it any way you'd like. You don't have to stick to the recipe. I don't usually stick to the recipes when it comes to things like this, but a lot of the things that they put I really like anyway. And then I'm gonna put a bit of salt in as well. So I like to measure it out before I put it in. And while this is still cooking, I'll probably start cleaning the kitchen. Alright, so it's been about 40 minutes now. The sauce is still not as saucy as I would like it. It's more chunky of a sauce, I guess. And the vegetables have become quite a bit more tender. I'm not sure if you can see that from there. Here, I'll move it closer. So that's what it looks like right now. I'm gonna leave it in while I'm cooking the pasta as well. So right here, I just have a pot full of water, and that's where I'm gonna be cooking the pasta. And this is the pasta. We're just using spaghettini. Nothing super special about it. I guess you can choose whatever type of pasta you would like, or else you can make it from home as well. If you don't want to use pasta, you can also serve this with rice. I think that would actually be pretty good too, because it is quite a bit more chunky than it is saucy. So I'm just gonna wait for this water to boil before I put any of the pasta in. Okay, so the water is boiling now, so I'm just gonna put some pasta in. I'm only gonna put this much in because I like it to be fresh when I eat it. So once the pasta is kind of like this, kind of floopy, it should be ready to be drained, and then you can serve it. Alright, so this is what it looks like cooked. It kind of looks like spaghetti. That's really good. I actually really like this. With the celery and the zucchini, it still adds a little bit of crunch, a little bit of texture. I'd probably put a little more sauce on than what I did, but this is great. Yay! Thanks again for joining me for this video. Hopefully see you next time. Bye!